It's in chapter 33 of Genesis that we see how mighty our God is. We see him overcoming odds that people just think can never be overcome. We see him unifying a relationship, reconciling a conflict that had been going on for years and years. We see two brothers, Jacob and Esau, becoming true family. If we remember, before Jacob wrestles God, before he comes face to face with God and has this life transforming moment, it's in chapter 32 that we see that Jacob is trying to pacify his brother. He hasn't met him yet, but he knows he's about to. And so he's kind of dubious in how he plans to do this. He knows that, in the way he thinks and the relationship that he's had with his brother his whole life, that Esau is going to be angry because he knows that he has robbed his brother of his birthright, of his blessing. He has done so many things to deceive his own family. He's been all about his own druthers, all about his own gain. And so, he knows Esau is coming. He's filled with fear. And so he decides to give his brother a bunch of stuff to pacify him, as he says in chapter 32. Hopefully this will pacify Esau. And so he sends his livestock and his servants, but he sends them in two droves. And there's a reason for this. Jacob's really thought this out. If Esau is still angry, as he says, if Esau comes and attacks one group, the other group can escape. And so Jacob, he's trying to make amends, but he's not really putting both feet in. He wants to make sure that this is going to work. The only reason why he wants to make amends is if he can gain, some kind of, foothold in this relationship, that he can gain something from it. He doesn't want to just apologize. He doesn't want to send everything he has. He's going to send one, and we'll see how that's received first. So he's not putting both feet in. He's still being Jacob. But then he has this moment where he comes face to face with God. This transforming moment. And it says in chapter 33 that when Esau saw Jacob, he ran to meet him and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And then Esau looked up and saw the women and children. Well, who are these with you? They are the children God has graciously given your servant. And then he goes forward to try to offer him all these things that he has. We have this moment where they see each other, and it's not anger. It's something so much more beautiful. And we find that Esau actually desires to accompany his brother wherever he's going as they keep going forward. And Jacob says, you know what, I'm going to meet you later on. And because I have to take care of my flock, my sheep. And he ends up buying a lot of land in Canaan. And he calls the place El Elohi Israel, which means mighty is the God of Israel. Jacob just had this moment that is forever going to change his life, this milestone in which him and his brother become true family. I mean, from birth, Jacob has been known as the deceiver, as one that's always tried to pull one over on Esau. There's always been this conflict. How they have viewed each other for their whole lives has been negative and wrong, has been hurtful, and has always kept them from being true family. You can imagine the enemy. So often he does this to our relationships. He gets a foothold in them. And he pokes and prods the areas that are sore, the areas that are weak, the areas that he knows he can open old wounds. And he keeps us frustrated and irritated with one another. And so often, we look at these relationships and we think, well, that's never going to be fixed. That's been going on for years and it's not going to happen. But yet Jacob, he says, at this place, after him and his brother have finally been reconciled, he says, mighty is the God of Israel. God did this. It wasn't me trying to manufacture something by giving Esau all these gifts. God was the one that has brought us together. And so as we go forward in our relationships, as we think about those people who we always seem to be at odds with, maybe people who have pulled one over on us, people who have betrayed us or hurt us, maybe people we've betrayed, and we think to ourselves, well, that's never going to be fixed. They're always going to be mad at me. We know that our God is mighty and that his love can overcome any old wounds, that he can wipe away tears. With our God, anything is possible. He can bring us together as brothers and sisters.